If life is so fair, why do roses have thorns? Because we take the initiative to check out the new video games on the market, then we wait a few months and follow up on these games to see how they're doing. Even if life isn't fair, we try to make it fair by figuring out what these developers and publishers are trying to do, and we learn from them and try to be smart, responsible consumers. Now we're following up on the games we looked at between April and June of 2015 to see how they evolved. Let's take a look. How's GTA 5? It's an optimized PC port of an amazing game. A game that console elitists can no longer use to inflate their egos. The controls and the frame rates are solid, and it just feels good to play. It's not really my thing, but at least people can enjoy it for what it is. As expected, the game is filled to the brim with mods. Custom campaigns like the Red House, mods that add the army when your wanted level is high enough, mods that turn the game into a Bethesda RPG without the bugs, and a plethora of smaller additions like custom plates and vehicles. I had the chance to play GTA Online a while back, and I can tell you right now, this is something you can only fully enjoy with a group of friends on Skype or TeamSpeak. The heists are nearly impossible with pub players. Some people had pulled off a heist successfully with pubs, but those instances tend to be few and far between. There's not a whole lot you can do by yourself. You can try surviving with a bounty on your head, or with a maxed out wanted level, all while in a free-for-all deathmatch with the other players. It's fun for a couple of hours, but it gets boring fast. This massive game requires 65 gigabytes of storage space. I can't fit that into my solid-state drive, but even on a slower hard drive, it runs well. It's worth it to get your friends together if you want to play online. Most people are just in it for the single-player story, and they will enjoy it. It's well worth the price, but as always, try to get it on sale if you have the patience. Killing Floor 2 was in a state that I believe was released too early for its own good. 3 maps and 4 classes, very little content to speak of. It was for Killing Floor fans and people who wanted to be a part of the development process, but the lack of content tends to discourage people from testing it. Over the last few months, they've added more content. 3 new classes were added, the Firebug and Demolitionist from Killing Floor 1, and the Gunslinger, which is a new class based around Akimbo pistols. They managed to add 4 new maps, and combined with the new classes, there's more content, and that's encouraging people to continue playing the game. The player base seems relatively stable. You can easily get a game going, and the server will fill up. You may have noticed I turned down the gore level. That's because when the entire map is covered in blood, I found that everything becomes harder to see. It blends in with the background, and you end up seeing different shades of red in the second half of a map. It's easy to look at someone's Let's Play and clearly see the monsters, but playing the game is another story altogether. Turning down the gore solves this problem for me. The whole game in general did not change over the past few months, but rather more content was simply added. At the moment, it feels like a game that you can play for a couple of hours every once in a while. My biggest complaint in the original video was the lack of content, and now we have more content. Would I recommend this now? I'd still say no, but it's definitely moving towards a yes. It's still an alpha, but I'm wondering what features are not in the game yet, besides the classes and the maps. Whatever it is, this developer has a fairly good reputation for delivering. I'm looking forward to it. Hatred is the kind of game you would see on sale at a Hot Topic. It seems like they were too focused on making an edgy and controversial game that they left out all the little things that make a game fun to play. So I ask again, where's my school shooting? Where's my Paris Attack DLC? Where's the part where I hijack a plane and fly it into a tower? Well, none of that happened yet, but guess what? They've added a survival mode which amounts to being an active shooter on a map of your choice. The police and military comes in waves, and between each wave you can purchase ammo, grenades, armor, and even explosives you can place around the map. This type of game mode appears in many other games under different names, but they all play out the same. It only has 3 maps, so very little content here altogether, but it's fun, it's challenging, it's somewhat replayable, and it really makes me wonder why this wasn't the game to begin with. Many reviewers criticized the game for being boring and using controversy as a crutch to sell it. I've said this in the original video, Don't think about the ethics, just think about gameplay mechanics. And I listed off a bunch of fun mechanics that could have been added to make the game interesting. There have been some improvements to the game. There's a new option to enlarge the cursor. The enemy AI will no longer shoot through each other to attack you, as far as I can tell. It's hard to figure out what they've added or changed when they don't release the patch notes. A lot of improvements could have been made under the hood, but it's impossible to know for sure. But many of the problems I've mentioned before still exists. You still have to watch an unskippable cutscene to heal. The camera is still very sluggish. It's still hard to tell where your gun is actually pointing. The developer is trying to support their game post-release, but it doesn't matter. The spotlight's off of them, and anything they do going forward will barely be noticed. A for effort, but this game is a lost cause. It really shows that first impressions are lasting impressions. The biggest PR myth of all is that there is no such thing as bad publicity. As long as your name is on people's minds, that's all that matters. But it doesn't work like that. Bad publicity only works if you have something that's substantially positive. In this case, a good, fun game to play. Something that makes people say, I don't see what the big deal is. Hatred was a boring and sloppy game at launch, and only now does it have something that's reminiscent of a fun game. But nobody pays attention. If I didn't do this follow-up, I would have never known any of this. They even have mod support now, but with the low player base, it doesn't even matter. Everyone looking for a good game to play has already moved on, and the developer's efforts will be in vain. They tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. These are the games I looked at between April and June of 2015. Next time, we'll follow up on the games between July and September. Thanks for watching!